Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and today I'm at the 2024 Texas FFA Convention, and where am I at right now, Lyle?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas, and what makes this so special is that, let me tell you, we battled hurricanes to get, well, I didn't, I flew in overnight, but hurricanes, a lot going on today. I'm excited to have Lyle Logemann on the line, and he's an ag teacher. He's in the Panhandle, yes?
Yes, Panhandle of Texas.
Wonderful.
In the town of Panhandle, yes.
Yeah, and I was walking by, and I talked to Aaron Alejandro. Aaron's like, you got to get Lyle on the show. I heard his voice. I'm like, all right, I get it, Lyle. So, get us kicked off, Lyle. How did you learn about Texas FFA originally?
Well, it's a long story. I became a FFA member when I was in 8th grade, and I was about 13 or 14 years old, and I grew up in a town called Portales, New Mexico, and I drove 25 miles south every day with my sister, and we went to Elida, New Mexico, Elida Municipal Schools, and I had a great ag teacher. My ag teacher had been a veteran. He had taught for about 37 years before he retired, and a gentleman that was very full of wisdom, very experienced. He could do anything, and so I was very inspired by that man. He was other than my parents, he's probably been one of the most influential people I've ever had in my life, one of the greatest mentors I've ever had. His name was Rod Savage. He still lives in Portales, New Mexico, and he got me involved in FFA. One of the first things I ever did was the FFA Creed. The FFA Creed is a bit of wisdom that I've kept throughout my life, and it's recited by every FFA member. I bet you can pick out any FFA member in this room and they could recite the creed to you. Participated in prepared public speaking, judged career development events, poultry, livestock, pasture and range, all kinds of things. And I'm a firm believer in the idea that if it wasn't for FFA, I wouldn't be where I'm at right here today. I wouldn't have the ability that I do to formulate an opinion and deliver it in a convincing manner as I do right now. And it was those formative experiences that I came from, what you could say probably from a non-traditional ag background. My grandfather was a cattle buyer, a commissioned cattle buyer in Clovis, New Mexico, and he would sit in a sale barn on every Wednesday of every week and buy cattle all day long and receive a commission on what he bought. You know, he was a contract buyer for cattle. My grandmother was an elementary school teacher, so you pretty much the American dream type of grandparents. And so my mother was a banker, and my dad was a truck driver, and he hauled cattle all over the United States. He's one of the best bull haulers there is in the world, and he is now a commissioned cattle buyer. So came from a very what you could say probably a non-traditional ag background, because I wasn't involved in agriculture to a great extent until I was in about 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and I went to college at Eastern New Mexico University to get a bachelor's degree in agriculture education and a master's degree at New Mexico State University in agriculture education and extension. I've been teaching at Panhandle, Texas, going into my 2nd year, and I taught a year in Whiteface, Texas, so I will be in my 3rd year teaching come the fall.
And you mentioned you give Texas FFA a lot of credit. You mentioned you would not be where you're at.
Yes.
Why do you make that statement? What are some of those benefits that Texas FFA, for those that are unaccustomed or don't know much about it? For me, this is my 3rd year coming, and I'll be here next year as well. I just keep coming. But for those that have never heard of it, don't know, what are the benefits?
Texas FFA, I believe, is great because of the leadership that it has here. From the foundation to the board of directors to all of the ag teachers who live and work and breathe in this industry. If it wouldn't be for them who are hauling kids all over this state and driving 9 or 10 hours like we do down here in Houston, Texas, braving a hurricane, and yet you see here you see a group of people who are not going to pull the plug. They're going to keep going in order to ensure that we have a convention right here in Houston, Texas, regardless of a hurricane. We have kind of a rough couple days here, no power, flooding, things like that. But I'll tell you what, that's the resilience of these kids who come from rural backgrounds, and maybe if they come from urban, rural, suburban background, you put them in that blue jacket, you are developing a tougher kind of kid who can embrace the challenges that they face when they come in contact with something like a hurricane or a wildfire or a tornado or many of the things which
or life.
And what we're looking at here is putting kids in blue jackets is helping them succeed in life. Peak in life is what I'd like to say. And I've seen it on millions of, if you look at the number of people in the United States who are probably former FFA members, it probably ranks around 10 to 15 million people. I'd say about 15 million people in the United States right now are former FFA members who very much believe in the program. They believe in the Blue Jacket, and I'm a product of agriculture education. If it wasn't for agriculture education, I wouldn't be an educator. I don't think I'd have the ability to influence kids like I do. And I'm influenced by a great number of ag teachers who are also in the same profession. I wouldn't be able to announce a rodeo like I do.
You have the voice, man. Come on, you have the voice. You're over here making me look bad. Come on, man. No, I'm just...
So there's a number of things, and to pinpoint any one thing would be impossible. It's a number of things. And what Texas FFA allows you to play the game at a very high level. When we talk about the game of life in the FFA Creed, and we talk about it at our opening ceremonies actually. And so you can play the game here a lot harder when it comes to stock showing, leadership development events, career development events. And it's not just the competitive spirit to go after the banners and go after the buckles at the stock show. It's the things how these kids interact with each other, how they care about one another. They care about their neighbor. They care about what their future looks like. And a lot of students here are looking for an opportunity to go to college, go to a trade school, and some form of education for their future in their life. And so Texas FFA, what it means to me is you have a premier association here in the United States with, I think, 177,000 FFA members right now on the books, on the roster.
Amazing.
So the popularity of agriculture education in terms of career and technical education is very sought after. And it's that kind of thing right there that has made Texas FFA what it is. It's the dedicated ag teachers who are putting in sometimes 18, 19, 20 hour days to ensure that these kids taste some kind of success. And being in that Blue Jacket helps you gain confidence. And I tell a lot of my students, if you're involved in athletics, band, FFA, whatever it is, you go into a career, you're going to have to be able to communicate, and you're going to have to be able to be reliable, dependable. And that confidence that is built by going out and speaking to a crowd maybe of 200 or 300 people, where else are you going to find that? And FFA can do that for a student.
And for the corporate people out there, the sponsors, the people why should businesses be here? Why should other businesses be here?
I think the agriculture industry operates mostly off these two things. It's just my opinion. It's just my 2 cents: economic opportunity and environmental responsibility. And many of these sponsors, many of the people who are investing their money, hard-earned money, to help these kids maybe find a fulfilling career. Why is it important? Because it is an investment in the future. And it is an investment that you can take to the bank that pays off every day of the week. Because if my ag teacher hadn't invested in me, and the many other mentors that I had, if they hadn't invested in me, there would be no telling where I'd be. And so it gave me an opportunity to go to college. It gave me an opportunity. I went to college on scholarship through the lottery program in New Mexico. And there's somebody out there who is putting forth that money to ensure that a lot of these kids who may have a difficulty financially going to college or get an education or something like that, they have the ability to do so because there's somebody with the foresight, the sensitivity to understand that life's short. And if we take the opportunity to invest in those around us, then we will be able to create the world that we want to see. And from a sponsor standpoint, and many sponsors, of course, some come from an FFA background, some do not, but they see the value. They see the value in investing in kids that are going to help provide the world in the future with a safe, affordable, abundant, diversified, ever-improving food, fiber, fuel, feed, and shelter supply. And we have to consider, what does that contribute to, okay? That contributes to transportation and communication systems, power plants, schools, roads and bridges, military forces, churches, hospitals. It contributes to our infrastructure by having experience in this industry. Ag kids are thinkers. They have to think all the time. And it's a very worldly program because you have to be involved in so many things. You have to communicate, but you also have to be able to use these hands. And FFA, from a sponsor standpoint, what it helps an FFA member do is not only dream of a bright future, but it helps them build it with their own hands. And so I think that's, the work that a sponsor does. And also, and I announce a lot. Now, there's 2 priorities I have as an announcer. Number 1, you got to thank the secretary who's there helping you. And number 2, you got to thank the sponsors because they're the ones paying the bills. Okay? They're the ones foot in the bill to ensure that you can go out and take their investment and turn it into a viable product. And what do we have here? We have a viable product of kids who are going to go out and be productive citizens of the country.
Oh, yeah. Final question for you, Lyle.
Yes.
What is your favorite part about coming to convention specifically? What's your favorite part about being here?
I like the camaraderie. I like the camaraderie that you find not only with your students, but many of my ag teacher friends who do the same thing that I do every day.
Yeah.
And so also I get to see, it's a very...
It could be like that connection too, because you don't see each other all the time.
Right.
Or they're different areas, come from different areas of Texas, so come from all over the place.
It's a family.
So it's like, yeah, you get to see how what's going on in your life, like get to see year over year.
Yes, it is a family, and it's very much a close-knit culture. It's a culture of people who are very welcoming. They want to bring as many kids as they can down here, that way they can get kids out and see the world. And we're all on the same page with a lot of these things. We want to see those shining faces. We want to see a student or a kid. We want to see them enlightened by a speaker, by someone who is out in the industry, who is pursuing their career, something like that.
Yeah.
They enjoy seeing those and listening to those people with a lot of great perspectives. And so from the trade show to the sessions to a lot of the workshops to the contests, gives a student or a kid an opportunity to just meet a whole lot of people and build connections and network. And you can't put a dollar figure on that. You never know where it's going to take you. You never know when the next hand you shake is going to be a very important one.
Yep.
And so that's what I love the most about convention. And it's, we have 10,000, 12, 13,000 people here going to be here this week. It's very exciting because you see...
I love it. The energy is
right. You see blue and gold coming.
Yeah.
And so kids with a lot of great sense of humor.
It's the sea of blue.
Yes. And our kids, when they go to a restaurant, they clean up their table and they leave it. They hold the door. I mean, they know what they're supposed to do. They know how they're supposed to conduct themselves, how they're supposed to operate. And sometimes I know we can get kind of down in this world. We can get kind of disappointed. But when you come to convention, your opinion changes. That chemicals in your brain, you feel a real happy feeling when you're at convention. And so knowing that we've survived a hurricane and we're going to have the opportunity to go to sessions, things like that, hear from our state officers.
Such a blessing.
Yes. And God is good. And
He is.
and I believe, I think God likes FFA. He believes in it too. He believes in it too. And so it's hard to pinpoint any one thing that I believe that makes convention so great, but it's the leadership. Yeah, it's the people here who are at Texas FFA, and they work night and day to ensure that these things go off of that, not only in our area level, but at the state level, who work to make sure, and through blood, sweat, and tears, that this does happen, and kids have an opportunity to see a great spectacle representing American agriculture and Texas FFA.
Amazing. Well, Lyle, hey, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show today. It's really been a pleasure getting to know your insights and why you favor FFA like myself, and I agree. I think God does love FFA. Yeah. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to carry you along in your journey as well. Again, hit that subscribe or follow button, and have a great rest of your day.